The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. That's the first time I've seen that.
And we're live.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. I'm Shelley Butler,
And I'm Yves Doucet.
and I am always so excited to be here. I always say that every Monday morning because Monday mornings for some are HE double toothpicks, and
What's that?
for me, hell.
Oh,
And
sorry. I was
I was
picturing
like, do I
toothpicks on
swear?
eyelids or something.
Yeah, well, that too, right? For some people,
Wakey,
Monday
wakey.
mornings are really, really tough, and we all have choices, right? What can we do to make Monday morning um, such a beautiful beginning to our week? What is it that takes that puts you in this terrible space? What can you do to put yourself in an amazing start to your Monday? I know I get up and I work out at 6:15 every Monday.
I get up and I just look at my thoughts and ask myself, am I happy today?
Oh,
Am I going to need a coffee to be happy today? Or can I just be
ah,
happy without coffee? Can I be happy just to be happy? And as
yes.
soon as I see that, I choose to be happy.
Choose to be
So it
happy.
doesn't rain. It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing. This morning I was up at 6. I went for a walk. It was beautiful, beautiful day, nice and crisp, and
Yeah,
the sky was clear. You can see the stars. And went for a walk. Had my coffee. Did my journaling. Loved it.
love that.
hmm
Love that.
You have a choice, and the choice is always um, to see that you have a choice.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
saw a guru there the other day. I can't remember who exactly it was, but he said, uh, should you be false positive? Should you
Fake it till you make it. Kind of.
fake it? Should
hmm
you fake your positivity? And his answer was absolutely yes. If you tell yourself that you are in a grumpy mood, you're tired, then you'll be tired and you will be in a grumpy mood. So just tell yourself that you are fantastic. You are going to have an awesome day, and your brain only knows what you tell it.
Yeah,
You said,
there's lots of data or science that'll point to you that it has some positive effect to basically just if you
mm-hmm.
smile, you'll start to believe that you're happy. Like it's that simple in a
It's
way, right?
yeah.
So the body doesn't know the difference between your imagination and reality because your reality is your imagination. So,
It
mm,
is. It absolutely is. So,
mm.
I have discovered that if I get on the scale first thing in the morning, it heightens my anxiety, and I no longer get
Dang
on the
scale.
scale first thing in the morning.
Why would you get on the scale first? Why would you do that?
Um,
That would make me so angry every morning.
yeah, well, it made me anxious. It
Anxious.
absolutely
Yeah.
made me anxious, and yeah, so I just stopped doing that. I love the data. I love the data that I receive from my scale, right? It tells me if my body water is good, it tells me all kinds of things. But in actuality, my reaction
Hmm.
was to beat myself up.
Yeah, so I would say if you wake up and say, I have to weigh myself to feel good, what's the difference between that and saying, I'm waiting for the sun to shine before I'm happy? Or I'm waiting to win $1 million, or I'm waiting to have a perfect life, or
A bigger house, a nicer
life.
car,
Like,
none of it
um,
works.
yeah, and I would, like, for myself, I would say, well, I'm addicted to the pain, the suffering of
Yeah.
what I create for myself. Oh, I want to suffer. So I'll just weigh myself and I'll
Yeah.
see how bad so yeah, no.
That's what I saw. That's
Yeah,
what I saw. You're
yeah,
creating. You
create
have to
that.
understand what you're creating for yourself. So self-awareness is
Mhm.
really super important.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Okay, so let's get into it. So here we are. We're changing our format. If you've been here for the last couple of Mondays, you will realize that we are wanting to bring real live scenarios, workplace scenarios that happen every day.
Mhm.
And exactly how are you going to manage those? So we have been using the real Veronika because she brings amazing stories to the internet. She is an influencer out there of workplace habits and workplace um, scenarios, if you will. So we are going to player Angela, we're not doing anything actually. Angela, producer extraordinaire behind the scenes, is actually going to play an audio. We're going to listen, make our funny faces as we listen, and then we are going to respond of how perhaps we would engage. We would make suggestions on how it could be done a little bit better or a little bit differently. Angela, take it away.
Why did I just now get this paperwork? I just got it just now. I didn't know you had a daughter with the same name as me. I don't have a daughter with your name. What? Did it bring your kid to work day today? I didn't know that either. I would have brought Luca. It's not bring your kid to work day. What are you talking about? Oh, then who were you just talking to? When? When? Just now, when you just walked into my office with your voice raised as if you were talking to one of your children. Well, I was talking to you because I asked for this information to be delivered yesterday and I just got it. I just got it right now. Oh, well then go talk to your boss because I was told not to submit that information until they verified what they needed to verify. But their lack of communication with you has nothing to do with me. Please let that be the last time you walk into my office yelling at me. I am not one of your children. And even if I was, you really shouldn't talk to them that way. Veronica.
Hey, hey,
Hmm.
yeah. How do you feel when you're yelled at, Eve? How does that
Well,
make you feel?
well, you can yell at me once or twice, yeah, maybe three times, and after that, I'll put my foot down. So,
Yeah. And how exactly are you going to put your foot down?
um, it depends on the situation. Uh,
Always,
um,
always.
so
Can't write a rule for this. Can't write a
no,
policy for this.
you
There
can't.
is no procedure for this.
So first of all, let's just start off by
Yeah.
saying, if I'm the manager and I'm yelling at someone,
Hmm.
well, I think that rarely happens. I don't start off the conversation by yelling.
I
I
have
don't
never
recall.
seen it.
I've never seen that. I'm thinking back in my head. So maybe it's not 100%, but I would say 99.9% of the time, as when I'm leading, I don't come into a conversation yelling. So as a leader, as a father or as a mother or as a as a leader,
As a
as a
human,
human, I tend to really try to like really hard not to go into a conversation yelling.
hmm
Um, so, like, there's things you can do to do that. And I have this practice, and I talk to a friend, like,
Yep.
a coach, right?
Yep.
Not to gossip about it, but rather to just calm myself, like never send a letter, angry, that
Never
kind of
sent an
thing.
email
Yeah,
drinking.
drinking, that's the same thing, right? So
Yep. Yep.
so kind of create some space for that. And,
Yeah.
so create some space. Journaling is another way to see that you're angry and you see your thoughts, and then to calm yourself down a bit before you go talk to anyone, including and especially people that are a little vulnerable, right? People that you have respect for. So
So that manager, what could that manager have done? Instead of going in saying, "Hey, like you're late. What the hell?" What could that manager have done
well,
to make
first of
that
all,
scenario a little bit better?
well, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I would say 99% of the time when I assume something, not 90%, a lot of times, not 99, but a lot of times when I assume something about
Yeah.
life,
You make an ass of you and me.
yeah, well, yeah, that's, I love that, by the way. My father used to say that. But but when I assume something about the truth of it,
Yeah.
it's usually not entirely true.
Just like this scenario, right?
It's
It's
not
just like,
entirely true.
yeah,
So
just
there's
like this
something there.
scenario.
So if you the best to me, the best sign of a leader is being curious. Like
Be
curiosity,
curious.
curious about like questioning your what's his name? Warren Buffett had a little thing on TikTok last night. He says the number one thing about investing, assume you're wrong. And I
Mm.
thought, what? Yeah, yeah. So you make an investment, and then all your other moves after that, you're going to make the assumption that you're right. You validate your move, right? This is the way the brain works. You validate that you're right. A great leader, in my book, assumes that they're wrong and goes to look for evidence that they are wrong,
Yeah.
right? Not to prove themselves wrong, but to validate that if you can't find any evidence that they're wrong, then they must be right, right?
Oh, that is beautiful.
You got
Being
see?
in discovery, because when you know that you're right, you'll never ever
Well,
look.
then you never know. So this
Yeah.
manager assumes
that.
that she's right. Right. And we do this as humans. We assume this is just a human condition. We think that we're wrong. Like we think that they're right. We're going to use everything to justify that we're right. Gossip about it. Go talk to friends
Why
about
are
it.
you late?
Why are you late? See, let me talk to you about this person I know that's the experience I had with him too. Get that? He's always like that. And then the story grows bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's
That is
right.
not leadership, right?
No, that is gossiping.
That is gossiping.
Yeah,
right?
that's just
So a
gossiping.
leader assumes that they're wrong. They look for evidence that they're wrong
Yeah.
in order to disprove, right? Or to validate what they're doing. So that to me is a good sign of a leader.
I absolutely love that. So, where the manager went in and pointed fingers there, right? You're late, you're late, you're late. Um, she responded with sarcasm.
Yeah.
She responded with sarcasm. And you and I, in deep discussion over this, making sure that we could
She's like Shelley.
make sense of this.
Well,
Oh,
no, I'm saying that with love, right? So
thank you.
sometimes you're like that.
And what happens? What happens when we respond with sarcasm? What happens when we respond perhaps like that? What happened to that manager in that instance when she was like, "Oh, is it bring your kid to work day?" Because you're talking to me like a child.
Yeah. So
What happened? What happened with that manager?
First of all, it's not a great tool. Sarcasm is not a great tool because if the relationship is not a good relationship, like you can use it with me and I can use it
Yes,
with you
yes.
because we have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So you'll go away, you'll think about it. I'll go away and I thought
We'll
about
laugh.
it, right? You laugh
Yeah.
about that and say, okay, maybe there's a variety. So, but
Mm,
so
maybe there's some truth there.
so if you listen to the tape again, the voice, if you listen to it again, and what you'll see that and I know it's a play, but you'll see that the boss, the manager, her voice came down.
It's like,
right?
what,
Yeah.
what, and what
Yeah.
happened?
So-
She stopped.
She stopped. So what happens when you bring a person into the present moment, which sarcasm? Oh, is it like it's totally ridiculous? Oh, is it bring your kids to work day? No, that's not true, right?
Because I'm sure you're not yelling at me.
Right. So it brings you down to like the present moment.
That
So-
boss stopped in her tracks. She
Yeah.
no longer reacted and was like, ooh, ah. She really
So-
wasn't sure what to
So
say.
although I don't although I don't recommend using sarcasm with your boss
either.
because if you use it once, it's going to be okay. Twice, you're gonna get hit in the head.
Yeah.
So
don't do that.
there's a way. But however, what Veronika was able to do is bring the manager down to earth. In other words, to this present moment.
Yes.
You're yelling at me. It's not correct. The manager already knows it's not correct, right?
Absolutely.
So she was able to bring that down. I remember when we were with Barry and Baptiste, like in our coaching,
Mhm.
he used to do that all the time. Try to bring a person here. When the person
Yeah.
is yelling, just try to bring the person here.
Yeah.
And if you can bring the person here by just like making the most ridiculous statements, like remember when you asked me, did I get the job because you like me? And I said,
Mhm.
absolutely. You only got the job because I like you.
Yeah.
And it was such a ridiculous statement that it stopped you in your tracks. And you looked at me, but no, I'm asking you. I said, yeah. You only got it because remember that?
Yeah. I absolutely
So
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't using it
Yeah.
was a bit sarcastic in a way.
Oh, it was very sarcastic in a way, but you're asking me to look a little deeper, to stop questioning why you're the CEO. And it came from somebody asking me, well, if Yves still there, why would he make you CEO?
Like
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So although I don't prefer I don't know what your opinion on sarcasm. I don't think it's a great tool, but it did bring the manager to understand where they are.
So when we were discussing this, preparing for the show, that's exactly, I was like, oh, Yves, I don't like that. And he said, but wait a minute, it stopped her in her tracks. And so it served a purpose in the moment. And I agree with Eve. It can be done perhaps once. And honestly, you have to be in a pretty good situation with your peers, with your boss manager type employee situation to be able to do something like that. I do not advise it. And we came up with a couple of questions. So that manager truly could have come in, asked the same thing, created the communication by just simply saying, I believe we agreed this would be delivered yesterday. True?
That's from the manager point of view. The manager could ask the questions, right? So
The
yeah.
manager could, as soon as the
Yeah.
manager settled, right?
Yes.
Because obviously it was, gone in the moment. But
Mm.
we suggest, of course, that people take a breather to not go in with guns blazing. But personal awareness is so far from our reality, most people's realities today, that they don't even realize they're in reaction, unfortunately. Bottom line, she was in reaction. She was in deep in reaction. And she didn't create communication. What she talked at her,
Yes.
she went in, she talked at her. This was supposed to be done and it wasn't done. And that employee was able to actually hit her back and go, yeah, well, your boss told me to do something differently. Now, there's a big scenario going on here. That particular boss of that manager should have definitely said, listen, I see you have that needs to be delivered, but I'm not going to have it delivered until I check it first, right? I think that the manager's boss should have actually told her that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things here. Like I agree with you. I think there's like what I would do as a manager to prepare, I would call a friend and ask, hey, can you listen to this? Not coach me, but listen to this. So
Yes.
I can get the emotion out of it. Right?
Yes.
And then I would start writing questions with curiosity of
Yeah.
where am I wrong here?
Yeah.
Where am I wrong? Just write the
Yeah.
smallest questions you can to ask Veronica. That's what I would do. So
Yeah.
that's the
If you know
smallest
you're
question.
going in with guns blazing,
Yeah.
if you know you're in reaction, we ask that you stop.
Yes.
You're allowed to
Stop.
stop. You don't need to do anything in that moment, because what you're going to do in that moment could destroy your relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When that happens, you're in repair mode. And once you showed somebody who you really are, it's really difficult to come back. I am a Maya Angelou fan, and I tell you right now, when she says, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them.
It's interesting. There's a Stu here is saying that sarcasm is
Is like to swearing.
it's like you're swearing. I don't understand what
I don't understand. No, I don't understand that either. Now, there's been a lot of research on swearing, and our good friend Dr. Robin Hanley Defoe talks about swearing, and swearing, based on her science, her research, is actually a good thing. So, yeah, you have to ask yourself, Stuart, how you feel about swearing and what does swearing mean to you. If somebody comes into you swearing at you, I would say that you should immediately get up and leave. Nobody should be swearing at you. That's yelling at you. If they're using curse words, though, there is an implication to that. And there's tons of research. Dr. Robin Hanley Defoe can help you with that.
So a little question the manager could have come up with, and we're just like kind of thinking about that. What could the manager have asked, right? So a question could be, well, I believed we had an agreement of yesterday to deliver this. Can I ask what happened? Right? Like that. Just be curious, right?
Yeah.
Because if you say we had an agreement is different than I believe we had an agreement, right?
Right.
Because then you're not curious about, well, maybe I had the agreement and you didn't had the agreement. You didn't understand. So you have to be curious to say, well, maybe Veronica didn't understand that it was supposed to be delivered yesterday. There's all sorts of possibilities. So that would be kind of write the question, remove the words,
Love that.
remove the words,
Yep.
remove the words. Do that 5, 6 times until you have the question that kind of challenges your belief, and then go with a question. That's what I would do as
Yep.
a manager.
Absolutely.
As Veronica, a couple of things here. If Veronica knew that she had to deliver something to her boss or to someone, to anyone for that matter, a certain day, and you've made that promise, well, then if somebody came, something or someone came in the way of that delivery, I think the onus is on the person, i.e., in this time, Veronica, to tell her boss that something came up and I can't deliver it to you. I think there's an implied like responsibility there, right? Instead of just being there like a lump on the log, take responsibility for your life and say, hold on now, what would I expect as the boss if I'm not going to get this, right?
Hmm.
Because when you give something as a task and the person says, I'll do it by a certain day, you don't want to get bothered every single minute. Say, hey, did you do that yet? Did you do that yet? Did you do that yet? Did you? Well, to get out of that micromanagement state, you have to honor your word. So if you said something, you have to deliver it. It's not right to blame the boss. Say, well, no, your boss said no. There's an implied responsibility in my book for we're not going to take responsibility for that, right? That's the way I would say.
I agree. I agree. I definitely would have said it's in your boss's hands.
Hmm.
I have delivered. It's in your boss's hands, and then you can do whatever you want to after that. Yeah, to do nothing is a little undermining. I also, I didn't feel any great camaraderie or
Oh
any
my God,
great communication,
no.
right, between these two. And that's really what's huge here. I think that we have to make relationships with the people that we work with.
So it's interesting because you can be the kindest employee that you want.
Mm,
You can be the kindest boss that you want.
mm.
You're going to still have people that are going to yell at you.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
going to
can,
happen from time to time.
yeah. So that's another point I want to make sure that like there's a boundary setting that Veronica says I don't tolerate yelling at me, and I think that's a good boundary. Say I don't tolerate
It's
that,
an
right?
amazing boundary. That's a
And
self boundary.
that's a
You can
self
tell
boundary.
yourself, not just at work,
Yeah.
in your life. Nobody should be yelling at you.
No.
You can set the boundary to say, if somebody's yelling at me, I'm out.
Now, if the person that you try every single time and you keep having the person yell at you, to me, what I do is I wait. I'll do it 3 times. I'll try three times, right? And if nothing I can do to help resolve the issue by always being in the yelling position, the person is always mad at me,
Mm.
then it's time for me to set my own boundary and I leave. You have to know when to leave.
It
Like
is,
it's
yeah,
like you have to
it's,
know when to leave.
yeah.
And
And you also have to know when to say sorry,
oh yeah, yes,
right?
that's the other point too. We forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like if once the manager discovered that she was wrong,
Yeah.
what do you do? What would you do once you discovered you were wrong?
I immediately say sorry.
Yeah.
And nothing else needs to actually be said. See, if you say sorry, but the
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, yeah, the sorry is no longer good. So one word,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
always like
I
to
will take
say
it up with my manager.
sorry, and I would say
I'll
I
take it up
would
with my
see
boss.
the way I love that. I love saying sorry.
Yeah.
But I to me it's even more powerful when you say sorry and then say I'm going to do this next time. I'm going to ask a question next time. I'm not going to assume that I'm right. I am going to do this, right? So you take an action after sorry, and then you actually deliver on that action. That's what's going to happen. You're going to start building trust with that. If you say sorry, okay, cool, you took responsibility for it, but then you say I'm going to take an action.
And I'm going to help myself to not
Yeah,
treat another human being
like that.
like that.
Yeah,
So
powerful.
I'm going to talk to a coach. I'm going to journal and list questions. How can I be curious
Yes.
in this space? Right. And I think that, here at Dovico, we have practices so we can always work on ourselves. And one of the practices is no reaction.
Mm.
Take self-awareness to know that you're reacting.
It's
See,
hard.
some of
Yeah.
us feel like
Mm. But
it's I'm the boss and I can react and I can go in and holler and all of these type of things. But it's super, super important that we understand that if we are in reaction, we do nothing. Nothing when we're in reaction.
no, like Shelley said, it's a practice, not a perfection. So,
Yeah.
like, it's normal to react. It's normal to get attached to things. It's normal to be a human being, to fall into your personality. And
Yes, of
that's what
course.
I'm saying. If it's hard to change, like everybody wants to change the world, nobody wants to change themselves. The
Yeah.
job of a leader, the job of a human is to change. And the reason I say that is like we want to evolve and grow. Well, change needs to happen inside of you, not outside of you, to evolve and grow. If you want to grow as a human, a leader, an employee, whoever, something has to change inside of you. It starts by saying sorry, taking responsibility for your action, and it starts by taking action towards the things you don't want to do, the things that scares you, the things that like are a little dangerous. You're going to destroy that way of being inside of you. Saying sorry is vulnerable, by the way.
Oh, it's
It's
absolutely.
like,
And it has to be, you have to be saying sorry with truth in your voice, right? If you say sorry without you feeling it, I tell you, it comes off really, really
it
bland.
does.
So you have to be very, very good with yourself and understand that a sorry has to be meaningful.
It does. So,
So
do we practice that at Dovico? Do we say sorry?
all the time.
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Do
Because
we
you know what?
react?
We're human. So you're going to react. When I say no reaction, it doesn't mean that that's what you practice, that you're never going to react again.
Mm.
It means that you understand when you're in reaction, that you take the pause, that you do nothing, that you journal about it, that you look towards that human that you trust and love, and you don't gossip, but you say, I have a story within me
So,
that is growing legs, and I need you right now to listen, not to fix it,
so
but to hear me.
what did, so we have a policy at Dovico, no gossiping, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a thing. So,
it's a thing.
so,
Yeah,
so
no
why,
gossiping, no blame.
why is gossiping and blame a problem, in your opinion, as a leader or as a woman?
Well, there's yeah, as a human, there's a lot of problems with that. It creates a feelings within of a little less, right? So when we have our herd mentality and we try to get everybody in our corner, you think it's going to make you feel good. Because so and so believes me, so and so believes that I'm right and you're wrong. It does nothing. It does nothing except for create a herd of like-minded, inefficient, angry people, right? Blaming creates a sense of it's not me, it's you. You're always putting others down. But none of it will ever make you feel good. None of it will ever make you feel powerful. It'll always make you feel shame.
So I agree. I think gossiping and blaming feeds the delusional mind. In other
Absolutely.
words, what I started by saying, what we were talking about before, is like a great leader understands the difference between their delusional mind, what they believe is right,
Yep.
and what is reality. So reality is like questioning yourself, questioning that you have the truth, questioning your decision, questioning everything that you see in order to discover reality. Blaming and gossiping just feeds the delusional mind. If you
Yeah.
want to see how that works, well, just look at current social media. It feeds on the delusional mind. It feeds on gossiping. It feeds you exactly what you want to hear so that you become delusional and you start creating these stories about life. That's what gossiping does.
Yeah.
And gossiping has no place in anybody's life because it stops growth. It's blaming is the same thing. It stops growth.
Yeah.
Um, the word responsibility comes the word the ability to respond. And if you can only respond with blame and gossip, then you're always right. Then you always have one way to respond, and you
Yeah.
wonder why you have the same relationship, the same feeling over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There comes a time in our lives that we hit, midlife crisis. For us, for some people, it's 40. For others, it's 60. For some, it's earlier. I don't know.
57.
So what happens in midlife crisis is really interesting. You have lived every single emotion that you've ever lived in your life. You've gone through all of it. So you start to say, I don't want to do that anymore because I've lived through that. I don't want
Mm,
the emotion of drinking, right?
mm,
And waking up in the morning hungover. I don't want that emotion anymore.
yeah.
I don't want that emotion of consuming all this stuff. I don't want that emotion of hanging around people that yell at me.
Yeah.
So when it happens at a certain point in your life, you start to awaken to the fact that, oh, I've lived through all the emotions in my life. And you start to take care of seeing your emotion inside of you, that you create that emotion. And that's when the transformation happens. And that's what we do at Jovico. And we
Yeah.
do that through having conversations with things like Show Up. Show Up is a tool that helps us actually sit back and start to listen. Like as leaders, we're not controlling their conversation. We are sitting back and listening. If you want an example of that, I just put a survey out for my yoga teaching. And if you want to fill it in, if you've been a student, go out and sit, and it's a conversation. Everybody can see what people are saying. It's just anonymous. I'm listening. I'm questioning every single thing about myself.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. I may be right. Let's go discover. That's how you make great investment. And the best investment you can ever make is in what?
Yourself.
Right.
Every time.
Every day.
Every day, every moment. Absolutely. So, so important. You know, we got to show up at the Chamber of Commerce. And because of that, we are now going to show up at a number of different events because people got to see exactly how they can voice their opinion, voice their thoughts without any kind of pushback or
it kind of releases the anxiety.
the anxiety, the internal stories that we carry with us. And that was really powerful in the moment.
was.
So I am thrilled at how this morning went.
Good job.
Hi, Leslie. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Diane. Hi,
Andrea.
Thanks, Stuart, for the
Angela,
question,
Trent,
the
Carl,
comment. Yeah,
Martin.
thank you guys for being here with us and sharing in our Monday morning. I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.